So in the last video, we had this basic comparative advantage table here. But today we're gonna change up the numbers and work through basically different example problems so you can see like how these scenarios might change based on the different numbers that you might have. And we're still gonna be focusing on like amount of output per hour kind of questions versus like labor input, like hours of labor input, basically. That will be probably the next episode. So in this next example, we have Canada and Mexico, and each country now produces laptops or cups. And we can see here that Canada clearly has an absolute advantage in producing both items. It can produce 20 laptops per hour versus Mexico's 10, or 25 cups per hour versus Mexico's 15. So there's no debate about that part. Now, when we do our quick multiplication trick, we can see that 20 times 15 is 300, which is greater than if we did it the other way around, 10 times 25, when you only get 250. So that's like a quick trick that tells you that Canada producing laptops and Mexico producing cups is the better trade overall. But the real method is to figure out the opportunity cost of each country to produce one item or over another. So for Canada, the opportunity cost, if it were to produce one laptop, you divide 25 by 20, and you'd get 1/4 of a cup if it were to produce one more laptop instead of a cup. But for Mexico, when you divide 15 by 10, you get 1.5. So Mexico has a greater opportunity cost of producing one more laptop than a cup. So it should be producing cups instead of laptops. And then on the flip side, the opportunity cost of producing one more cup versus one more laptop. Canada, you divide 20 by 25, you get 4/5. 10 divided by 15, that's 2/3. 4/5 is greater than 2/3. So Canada should be producing the laptops instead of the cups. So that's the trade that you would get. Pretty quick one here. Countries are USA versus the UK. They're producing wheat versus hairbrushes. USA has the an absolute advantage in both items, and it can produce the same amount of both item instead of like a different amount of each, still having that absolute advantage. End result is kind of obvious. USA should be producing the wheat because in that scenario, then the UK will then be producing the hairbrushes, and you get more product overall, bigger multiplication, whatever. Okay, and this is probably the last example that I'll be showing for today. In this scenario, we have Germany and Sweden, they're producing toothbrushes and TVs, but the thing is, there's no country that has an absolute advantage in producing toothbrushes. They both can produce the same amount, 5 in 1 hour, but Germany does have a pretty big advantage in producing TVs. So in this scenario, again, you can use that quick trick of multiplication, and you'll get that Germany should be producing the 20 TVs, and Sweden will be producing 5 toothbrushes. I might have missed one or two examples, in which case I'll include them in the next video, but then otherwise the next video will just be about like the examples of this where you're considering how many hours of labor goes into making a product between two countries and how you would trade based off of that.